Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a wildly entertaining and honestly surprisingly passionate dive into a really bizarre subculture. We're looking at a fantastic book review by Pearson covering John Vader's book, Anything for a Golf Ball: The Art of Finding Lost Golf Balls. Now, normally when we talk about golf, we're focusing on the backswing, right? Or sinking that perfect putt on a pristine green. But Vader's book takes us straight into the weeds, literally, to explore the laugh-out-loud world of finding lost golf balls.
Think about the absolute peak of golf for a second. Your mind probably goes straight to the pros. Take Scottie Scheffler, for example. He won the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup title and walked away with a staggering $25 million in bonus money. You'd think that is the absolute pinnacle of the sport, right? Well, according to Vawter, there's a path that's actually even more fun and fulfilling than that. And the best part? It doesn't require going to Q school or being one of the top 30 golfers on the planet. It's the pure, absurd, and unadulterated joy of being officially declared a professional golf ball hawker.
Section 1. The Scale of Lost Golf. Why hawkers hawk? Okay, let's dive into the math behind this.
300 million. Just let that sink in for a second. According to Vawter, that is the exact number of golf balls lost by American golfers every single year. 300 million little white spheres disappearing into ponds, sinking into tall grass, and vanishing into forests annually. It's a completely staggering figure, but it completely sets the stage for everything the hawker does. It's not just a casual hobby, they're responding to a massive, practically endless supply.
Now here is where Vawter's unique brand of hawker logic comes into play. He points out that while roughly 75% of those 300 million balls are eventually found, that still leaves a massive 25% that remain out there, just hidden in the wild. Vawter asks a very simple question. Do you know how many that means are yet to be found? I mean, when millions of balls are essentially out there, begging to be rescued, why is there any question at all about why hawkers hawk?
Like any deep subculture, there's a highly specific nomenclature you need to know. For instance, there's the hawker litmus test. It states that if you have actually bought a golf ball in the last 2 years, yeah, you're not a real hawker. But my absolute favorite definition from the whole book has to be the rocker. This just brilliantly illustrates the dedication we're talking about here. A rocker is someone who rides along in the golf cart but doesn't even bother playing golf. They are purely there for the hunt. Rider plus hawker equals rocker. It's a whole day out, entirely dedicated to scanning the perimeter of the fairway.
But at the very top of the hierarchy, the absolute highest compliment you can pay someone in this community is to call them Captain Ballhawk. A true Captain Ballhawk isn't just casually glancing around while waiting for their turn to putt. No, they are deeply, internally motivated by one singular mantra: anything for a golf ball. And by the way, John Vawter himself is the real deal here. He personally finds about 2,000 balls a year.
Moving on to Section 2. The Gentleman Hawker. Rules of Etiquette. Let's see how this social code works.
Because this passionate pursuit isn't lawless, right? A true hawker is, above all, a gentleman. Vawter outlines these absolute rules of etiquette, and they are hilarious. Step 1. A gentleman hawker never ever picks up a ball until it completely stops rolling. We aren't thieves, after all. But steps 2 and 3 are where it really shines. Let's say a ball is sliced off the course and goes straight into a stranger's house. The gentleman hawker will bravely approach the house, ring the doorbell, and, this is the most important part, politely remove his shoes before walking into the living room to retrieve his ball. Now that is the standard of excellence we are dealing with.
There's also this wonderful sense of moral superiority that comes with the territory. The ball hawker stands incredibly secure in what Vawter calls a smug awareness. They really view themselves as the ultimate environmentally correct golfer. They firmly believe that retrieving and reusing lost golf balls isn't just some quirky little hobby, it's quite literally one of the planet's highest forms of recycling. They're cleaning up the earth, one Titleist at a time.
And because of this shared noble mission, there's a profound sense of brotherhood and sisterhood among hawkers. Imagine you turn off the highway to drive down a road right next to a prime fairway, totally ready to hawk, only to see someone else already driving that exact route. A genuine hawker doesn't get territorial or angry. Instead, they look at that person with great pride and think, he ain't stealing, he's my brother. It's just this beautiful, unbreakable bond.
All right, Section 3. The Theology of Hawking, Spiritual Perspectives on Lost Balls.
Now we arrive at what might be the absolute most fascinating part of this explainer.
Vawter, who actually happens to be a reverend, an author, and a seminary president, could not resist justifying his hawking ways with some incredibly deadpan theological commentary. He systematically breaks it down. For instance, from a Catholic perspective, he notes that Pope John Paul II was not a ball hawker, but he clarifies this has nothing to do with Catholic theology. It's simply a logistical issue regarding the lack of terrain versatility of the Pope-mobile. On the flip side, evangelical Billy Graham, excellent hawker. He claimed it was a direct carryover from his spiritual mission to seek and save that which is lost. And it gets even better. Those who believe in reincarnation, they make the absolute best hawkers because they aren't just looking for golf balls, they think they might be looking for their lost uncle. New Agers, though, make very poor hawkers because once they get into the deep rough, they lose sight of the mission and just start communing with the tall grass.
Vawter takes this theology so seriously, he actually suggests that if Jesus were walking the earth today, he would absolutely add the parable of the golfer searching for his lost golf ball right alongside the story of the poor widow searching for her lost coin. Why? Because to the hawker, both parables clearly contain profound spiritual lessons about finding value in what has been discarded. Hawkers, Vawter says, are basically like priests. They know golfers' sins.
Which leads us to this fantastic anecdote about Billy Graham, the ultimate golfing preacher. So Graham was golfing with a man who was just having a terrible day, hitting into the weeds constantly, losing balls left and right. At the end of the round, Graham asked if he could comment on the man's game. The man agreed. Graham looked at him and said, "All day long you've been asking God to damn your ball, and all day long he has been answering your prayer." It's just the perfect intersection of golf frustration and divine intervention.
Section 4. Converting the critics. The psychology of the hawker. Let's wrap this up by looking at the skeptics. With all this joy and theology and recycling, why do some people still make fun of the hawker? Well, Vawter gets a bit psychological here. He points out that the same person who criticizes a ball hawker probably doesn't like professional wrestling either. The psychology of the critic is actually quite simple. Any golfing psychiatrist knows that the confident ball hawker is doing exactly what all other golfers secretly want to do. The critic is just too shy, weak, or cowardly to do it themselves. But the ultimate joy for a hawker is the conversion. You know you've fully won when a formerly critical golfer looks around and says, "You know, this course has so many places to find balls, I would walk it without clubs just to find them." That is the exact moment the critic becomes the convert.
John Vawter took a hobby that most people completely ignore or even actively mock and turned it into this hilarious, deeply structured, and honestly almost spiritual pursuit. It really makes you pause and think about the things we dedicate our free time to. So, what avocation are you so passionate about that someday perhaps you might just write an entire book about it? Whether it's hunting for golf balls or something equally as niche, there really is a kind of magic in that level of dedication. Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep your eyes on the tall grass.